இல்ல ஒரு பொண்ணு போயிட்டா. நான் எனக்கு போக மாட்டேன். அவதான் ஒயிட்டா இருப்பால.
நம்பரு
So, hello students and welcome to the first session of Forests and Management. My name is Ashutosh Behra and I'm a teaching assistant in this course. The other teaching assistant is Miss Garima. So, we are PMRF scholars and we are trying to uh, associate with NPTEL for this teaching assistantship. So, this course is brought to you by NPTEL, taught by Professor Ankur Avadia in IIT Kanpur. And my name is Ashutosh, and I'm a PhD scholar at IIT Kanpur. And being a PMRF scholar, it's a mandate that we help students taking this course in their problem-solving sessions. So this is the basic flow that we'll maintain throughout this presentation, which is roughly around 2 hours. The start time is 3 p.m. Right? I joined a bit late because I was preparing for this class as well. I would request all the participants to please turn off your mic and video chat while joining as well as throughout the class. I hope all of you are comfortable with English. Meanwhile, I'm trying to admit everyone who is trying to join this class. I guess in a Google Meet platform we can facilitate for this. Yeah, I request all the students to please turn off your mic and video chat.
என்னப்பா குடிச்சியா அடிச்சியா ஆமா எப்படி இருக்கிற நீ
Harini R, can you please turn off your mic?
இருக்கிறது
Hello, am I audible? Harini R, please turn off your mic. Yeah, Sashwat says, can you please disable it from your panel? Okay, let me try to do it. So as I was saying, general instruction for everyone who is joining this class. Please turn off your mic and video chat throughout this session. This will be an interactive session, but I will be presenting some example questions and will ask you for answers in the comment box. You can post your answers in the comment box and we can have a discussion then. Otherwise, it will be very chaotic for all of us to be talking at once, right? I will try muting everyone except myself. Let's you restrict. Okay. search for where do I turn this off. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm admitting everyone who is trying to join this call. I'm sure that NPTEL has provided with the link for joining this class on Saturdays 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Roughly around 2 hours. We maybe finish 5 minutes. We start a 5 minute late, or we can finish 20 to 30 minutes earlier, because these will be sessions, very brief sessions of the lecture weeks that we'll be dealing with. Like starting from today, we will be dealing with lecture week 1, and then later on, as we move ahead with lecture lectures upcoming in the months, within the span of 12 weeks, which is roughly around 3 months, we will complete this course. And as a teaching assistant, my job is to help you guys with some example questions which will be facing in your assignments or in your final certification courses and exams for NPTEL. So what we'll be discussing here is the lectures that Professor Ankur has taught you guys, or there are recorded lectures. We will be discussing some of the questions from those lectures, which are previous assignment or old assignment questions, which will help you brush up your knowledge about these topics. And if you have any questions regarding to the correct option or the answer or the explanation, you can stop me anytime, and I'll be happy to help you to the best of my knowledge. If I'm unable to answer any question or your query, please be rest assured, because I will solve it in the next class if you are attending it, and try to incorporate as much or assimilate as much information as you can from these TSIP sessions, because this is the first time NPTEL has come up with a live interaction platform between TAs and the students. Otherwise, previously it was the recorded lectures alone and the assignments that you guys submit. So yeah, so without any further delay, I would like to start this session, but for some issue, I cannot mute all the participants. I don't know how to do it. Maybe I'm new to Google Meet or Teams, because most of the calls that I do are on Zoom, so I'm not very familiar with this. If someone can help me, someone was mentioning in the comments. Shashwat, can you hear me? Can you help me how to do it? To mute all the participants here. I see some host controls here, and maybe you can speak up.
Yeah, Ashutosh, I assume it's in the three dot settings that is there.
Yes,
I'm just checking it at my
there is
end.
host management. I turned it on.
Yeah.
Okay, I just toggled the turn on microphone and turn on their video for contributors, and participants send messages. Yes. Okay, it is done. Okay, thanks, Shashwat. Okay, now finally we can begin this class. So one little bit of information that I want to give you guys, that all these sessions that we are going to have on Saturdays with me, as well as with the other TAs, these will be recorded sections. So all the questions that we will discuss here, as well as the discussions that we'll have, will be recorded and uploaded on the YouTube, and the link will be provided to you by the NPTEL authorities, as well as the slides that I'm going to present, or the material that I have prepared for you guys. This will be shared with you as well for your reference. So even if the material is being shared with you, I would encourage everyone to attend these live sessions, so as you can have a one-on-one interaction with all the TAs. Okay, with that much of an introduction, let me share my screen. Just give me a minute. I'll turn off my video and keep speaking through my mic, and ask you for inputs, right? Just give me a second. this is done. I just need to turn my video off. Okay, all set. Yeah. So I hope everyone is able to hear me and can see the slides, see them changing. If yes, then just let me know in the chat box with a thumbs up or a yes, and then we will move forward. Just a yes or a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yes. Very nice. Thank you. An interactive audience is what a teaching assistant asks for. Okay. So we are here for forests and their management. This is the first week. Course code is NOC 26 BT 23, and my name is Ashutosh Behra and I'm a PMRF scholar at IIT Kanpur. So again, to repetitively inform all of you guys, this is a problem solving sessions where we will be solving 10 multiple choice questions, very similar to what you get in your assignments or in your exams, right? And every week you get these quizzes or assignments. These are some of the questions from the previous year's old assignments or URLs that I'm going to solve, and all these questions are among all the three lectures that has been covered in the week 1 of this course, which is forest and their management. So if you have gone through these lectures, which is introduction, basically the introduction to forest, their definition, classification, and what are the values associated with these forests, the questions will be around these concepts and topics, and we will cover them. So I'm going to display the first MCQ multiple choice based question. We'll give you guys a minute or so to respond to this question. You can post your answers in the chat box, write your options, option A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to answer. And then after collecting all the answers from participants, I will tell you what is the correct answer, and then we will briefly understand the concept behind this, so that once and for all we get done with this question and the concepts. And let me assure you that all these concepts are very easy to understand, and I will try my best to cover it up for you guys. Okay, so let us start with the first question. First multiple choice question: which of these is not a consumptive value? Okay, clear to understand? Which of these is not a consumptive value? Option A, timber. Option B, firewood. Option C, non-timber forest products. Option D, education. Right? Clear and easy. First question, four options, not a consumptive value. You have to tell me which of these is not a consumptive value. Okay, let's take 30 seconds to 1 minute to allow everyone to answer. Please don't feel shy. Keep interacting with me. Keep answering the questions. That will kind of revise and brush up your knowledge as well, right? I have joined remotely through my other device to check the comment box. And students, you don't need to raise your hands because I have muted everyone. You can actually post your answers if you have in the chat box, and we will revisit them with what is the correct answer. Okay, I already see there are a lot of answers. Shashwat, Payal, Tarsia, Mrunal, Prithviraj, so many people. Mintu, Rohan, Payal. Option D, education. Okay, most of them. Okay, most of you guys have already answered, right? So let us quickly find out what is the correct answer. Which of these is not a consumptive value? You guys are all correct. Option D, education, is the correct answer. Education is a non-consumptive value, while timber, firewood, and non-timber forest products are consumptive value, right? Now let us understand what is a consumptive value. Consumptive values of forest refers to the tangible, marketable, and consumable resources they provide. Like the resources we acquire from a forest, which leads to their consumption. That is a consumptive value. Very straightforward to understand. Value which is provided by the forest, which we consume In a result, there is consumption of the forest resources. This primarily include timber, which is used for construction, for making furniture, for building houses, fuel, which is firewood, and non-timber forest products, which is any product. There are many products which are non-timber, which is not just the wood or the firewood, like food, fruits, nuts, medicinal plants, resins, gums, and the list goes on, right? So these are all the consumptive values of the forest, which include timber, the NTFPs, and firewood. So this is timber for furniture and house building, firewood and NFTPs include all the spices that we eat, all the medicines that we employ, resins, gums, and nuts and fruits, everything. Now, what is the purpose of these consumptive values? These resources support local economies and provide livelihood for many communities which sell them or which utilize these forests. Now, coming to the non-consumptive values, non-consumptive values of forests, which are indirect or intrinsic values of the forest, these values stem from the ecosystem services provided or activities that do not deplete the resource. A key distinction, key but simple distinction, in a non-consumptive value, there is no depletion of the resource or the forest. Nothing that we derive from the forest is consumed here. That is why it is non-consumptive. So it is indirect or intrinsic value of the forest, depends on the services that the forest provide, such as recreation and tourism like bird watching, nature photography, camping, hiking, jungle safari. So when you go into a safari, you do not consume any of the forest products. You do not use timber, you do not use firewood. You actually watch the wildlife, you watch the forests, and that services is provided by the forest in the form of recreation and tourism, which is a non-consumptive value, such as jungle safari, the example just I gave. Ecological services, which is provided by the forest, like carbon storage, water filtration, soil erosion control, and flood control. These are also services that are provided by the forests. If the forests were not present, these services would get hampered, and these are not something which we directly consume or deplete the forests of. Okay, so these are also non-consumptive values, like carbon storage in the carbon cycle, scientific and educational purposes, which are research or biodiversity on nature and education. This was our fourth option, which is education. This is also a non-consumptive value. The study on biodiversity, the advancement of research, the pool of education the forest provides is a non-consumptive value. So educational service and biodiversity is a non-consumptive value. Another example includes spiritual and cultural aspects where there is aesthetic appreciation, sacred groves and cultural heritage. In many communities and in many sects of religion, forests are worships are gods, and there is a spiritual and cultural deep significance of it, where forests are considered friends of the indigenous communities and the people living around it. So these are some of the non-consumptive values that forests provide. So educational service, which was the fourth option, is a non-consumptive value apart from timber, fuel wood, and non-timber forest products. I hope it is clear to everyone. Just let me know in the chat box with a thumbs up or a yes, and then we will move to the next question. I think it is pretty straightforward to understand with many examples. Okay. Great. Thank you for the response. So many people are responding. Good to see that. Okay. Let's look at the second question, second multiple choice question. Which of these is not a forest type found in India? Okay. Clear? Question is clear? Which of these is not a forest type found in India? Mediterranean dry. Option A. Option B. Tropical dry. Option C. Montane temperate. And option D. Alpine. Got the question? Which of these forest type is not found in India? dry Mediterranean type, tropical dry type, montane temperate or alpine? Okay, we have quick 30 seconds or 1 minute to answer. Please post your answers in the chat box, in the comment box, wherever you like. You can mention your options or you can write the answer. Oh, I already see there is a flood of answers in the comment box. And I also see some people getting left. I hope it's not because of the host settings. People who are getting left, please, you can rejoin in the link. This link is open to anyone who can join this class. I hope they rejoin. I see a lot of answers. Gurmanat, Tarsia, Shashwat, Preeti, Mrinal, Prithvi, Avishkar, Shreyashi, Soham, so many people. Pratiksha, Prerna, Omkar, Suraj, Diksha, Payal, Mintu, Sanket, Sonal, Rohan. Oh, I cannot just read everyone's name, it's a lot. Okay, so since many people have answered and we have almost how many participants? 50, 78 participants. Okay. Which of these is not a forest type found in India? Most of people have answered option A. And let me tell you, option A is the correct answer. Mediterranean dry forests are not found in India. Whereas the other three types, which is tropical dry forest, montane temperate forests, and alpine forests, are all part of Indian ecosystem. So see, India is such a diverse geographical country as well, where we have all different kinds of biomes in a single nation. If you go to the northern Himalayan regions, we have the alpine and montane temperate montane kind of vegetations and the forests. If you go to the west in the deserts and Kutch, where we have dry areas and forests, and there are in the east there are mangrove forests in the deltas of Sundarbans, and in the Deccan Plateau we have a different kind of vegetation. We have evergreen forests in the Western Ghats, in the Andaman Nicobars, and tropical deciduous, tropical evergreen, as well as all kind of forests. So India is a diverse geographical location, but Mediterranean dry is a specific kind of vegetation that is only confined to some of the western regions in the world. We will look at it. Okay, what are the key forest types in India? So here is a map which I was talking about, which shows different kinds of forest types present in India. Although the classification is still getting updated every now and then, these are the major types. We have alpine vegetation, which is here in the mountains, alpine very cold mountainous regions. Desert vegetation in the Thar area, where we have the Rajasthan Thar desert. Littoral or swamp in the Sundarban deltas, in the Mahanadi, Godavari deltas, and in the deltas of all rivers. Montane and subtropical temperate vegetation, where we have in the foot, when we come down to the temperature a little bit, we have the montane or in the mountainous regions. Tropical dry deciduous, tropical dry evergreen, these are all tropical forest types in or around the Tropic of Cancer. Tropical evergreen, tropical moist deciduous, and thorn type forests. So if we want to divide these forest types in India, we can roughly divide them into 5 types. Tropical evergreen and semi-evergreen forests found in areas with 200 centimeter rainfall like Western Ghats, Northeast India, and Andaman and Nicobar. Very tall trees, and the vegetation is dense, and they do not shed leaves together, right? Evergreen trees do not shed their leaves. So based on the rainfall, the amount of rainfall the area receives, and the temperature of the area, these trees have their distinct characteristics. Then comes tropical deciduous forests or monsoon forests, the most widespread forest type, covering areas with 70 to 200 cm rainfall, just below the range of 200 cm, divided into moist deciduous, dry deciduous, different kinds of trees. They shed their leaves in dry seasons. Then comes thorn forest, tropical thorn forest, located in semi-arid and arid regions with less than 50 centimeter rainfall, such as Rajasthan, Gujarat, and parts of the Deccan Plateau. Vegetation includes thorny trees like bushes and cactus like acacia. Then there are montane forests which are located in the mountainous regions like the Himalayas and the hilly areas in the south where vegetation changes with altitude, shifting from subtropical pine to temperate evergreen and alpine scrubs. And finally, we have littoral and swamp forests like the mangroves found along the coastlines and in the waterlogged areas. So these are major forest types in India, but although there are many different subtypes, which have their own distribution across the geographical area of the India. Okay, there is a comment which says not properly audible. Okay, I'll try to come closer to my mic here. So what I was talking about is the major forest types in India, and we see we have montane, subtropical, temperate, we have alpine forest types, then we have tropical forest type, but Mediterranean types is not present in India. So where is Mediterranean type present and what is Mediterranean type? So Mediterranean dry forests are biodiverse ecosystem characterized by hot, dry summers and mild, wet winters located in the Mediterranean basin, California, Chile, South Africa, and Australia. So this is the location wise the distribution of Mediterranean forest. So two points to note about the Mediterranean dry forest. What does it need? It needs hot and dry summers and wet winters, the winter rainfall and hot summers. So they feature drought resistant evergreen sclerophyllous vegetation like oak, pine, and cypress. So this is the Mediterranean Sea. So the vegetation around the Mediterranean areas is named as Mediterranean, and also along the same latitude, which is 30 to 40 degrees in latitude, found in Chile in South America, South Africa, and parts of Australia and the Mediterranean region. Now this is an example of pine sclerophyllous vegetation. How does the Mediterranean forest look like? And why this is absent in India? Because the country lacks the required geographical location and India's climate is dominated by monsoon rains, not the winter rains essential for this biome. So mostly Indian subcontinent receives its rains in the monsoon season. So therefore winter rains are very rare in India, and therefore Indian subcontinent is not dominated by this biome, while it is found in specific geographical regions around the world. So Mediterranean dry forest was the correct answer, and almost everyone has answered correctly. Very good. I hope it is clear to the students. We briefly saw about the major classifications of forests in India and what is the Mediterranean dry forest, where is it found, and why is it not present in India. Just let me know with a thumbs up or a yes, and we are moving to the next question. Very good. So here is question number 3, which says plant community predominantly comprised of trees and other woody vegetation, usually with a closed canopy, is dashed. Option A, silvicultural definition of forests. Option B, FAO definition of forests. Option C, legal definition of forests. Option D, ecological definition of forests. I hope you understood the question. Here is the definition of forests, which says that plant community predominantly comprised of trees and other woody vegetation, usually with a closed canopy. Now this is which definition of a forest? If you remember the very first lecture by Professor Ankur in this module, you would be easily able to answer this question. Is it silvicultural definition? Is it the FAO definition? Is it the legal definition or the ecological definition? So let's take a quick 30 seconds to 1 minute to gather all the answers present by all the participants here in the comment box. Okay. This is great to see that people have already started answering. The moment I post the question. Okay, there is a comment in the chat box. Sir, after you are done with the lecture, please explain how to find and do assignment as it's my first class. Okay. Yes, Manvendra, I will help you how to do it, how to find the assignment. Maybe I'll project the NPTEL screen or the NPTEL interface with you and follow you through for the assignment. And okay, Suraj, Sanket, Gurmanat, Tarsia, Preeti, Prithviraj, everyone have answered. Om, Pratiksha, Sai, Devakar, Diksha, Avishkar, Kinjal, Mrunal, Manvendra has also answered. Pranav, see new names, Sakshi, Shreyashi. Okay, and everyone is unanimously answering option D. It has to be option D. You guys are all correct. This is the ecological definition of forests, which says that plant community predominantly comprising of trees and other woody vegetation, usually with a closed canopy, is what is known as forest. So option D is the correct answer. Nailed it. Now let us revisit the ecological definition of forests. A plant community predominantly comprised of trees and other woody vegetation. So I want to focus here, I want you guys to focus here that what really is a forest based on the definition. It says that a plant community, it's not a single plant or a monoculture or a mono plantation of a single type of plant, but a community. There are different kinds of plants, different kind of levels of plants, different phyla of plants, predominantly comprised of trees and other woody vegetation. But the predominant species of the plants are the woody plants, which are the gymnosperms and the angiosperms. If you remember a little bit of biology, there are other kinds of plants as well which occur in the forest, which are grasses, which are not woody. Then there are ferns, which are also not very woody. But predominant species are the gymnosperms and the angiosperms, which have woody stem, and other woody vegetations like scrubs, and usually with a closed canopy. Now, what they form is a canopy, an umbrella like structure with their leaf spreads. These woody vegetation form a closed umbrella like structure called canopy. Now, ecological definition of forest emphasizes on these facts that a forest should contain different species of plants, majorly dominating with the woody plants, and also should create a canopy with their leaf spread on the top of the forest. So here is what, when I refer to a forest canopy, it looks like this. Many woody plants, which are tall plants, with their leaves uh, forming an umbrella shaped structure above the main stem for collecting the sunlight, and many such trees together form the uniform umbrella like structure, which is a forest canopy. For example, a rainforest, which is a type of forest, falls under the ecological definition of forest, which shows the different species of plants that inhabit a rainforest. The topmost layer is called the emergent layer. This is the canopy layer, which most of the trees in the rainforest are at this height, and their leaves form this umbrella like structure. Some rare trees or some population of trees emerge past this canopy layer called the emergent layer, and then just below the canopy is an understory layer and the forest floor. So if you look at the rainforest, this picture, sunlight does not really penetrate the canopy layer very well. So the forest floor is comprised of plants which survive with little to no sunlight. So here we see different kind of species of plants which come together to form a plant community fitting the ecological definition of forest. Now, what are the other three definitions that we saw in the option? What is the silvicultural definition? Silviculture defines a forest as a managed renewable ecosystem, often termed as a stand or a crop, controlled to meet specific ecological, social, or economic objectives. So, silviculture means the art and science of culturing wood or producing more wood. So, here it determines or defines a forest as managed renewable ecosystem to meet certain economic and social objectives, like tending the trees, harvesting the trees for timber, and for producing more wood, and regenerating and replanting the trees. This is the silvicultural definition. Now, the FAO definition, which is the Food and Agricultural Organization, general definition has been updated, which tells us that land spanning more than zero 0.5 hectares with trees higher than 5 meters and a canopy cover of more than 10% or trees able to reach these thresholds in situ are termed as forest. So, here we have technical limitations or numbers that come in, that the land should at least be 0.5 hectares with trees at least higher than 5 meters, and 10% of the canopy cover should be forming by this land. Then this land will be termed as a forest. This is by the Food and Agricultural Organization. It does not include land that is predominantly under agriculture or urban land use. And the legal definition, it brings into a different aspect of the forest. Any land officially notified or recorded by law as forest land, regardless of tree cover, ownership, or current use, is known as a forest. Any land which is registered under the government or recorded by law to be a forest is a forest. This is the legal definition of the forest. So the earlier definition that we saw was an ecological definition, which was the correct answer, and we also saw 3 different type of definition of the forest. Is it clear to the students? Is everyone able to follow? If yes, then please let me know with a like or a yes in the chat box. Very nice. Good to see a lot of participation. Very good. So students, please keep interacting like this, and let's maintain the energy of the class. Coming on to the fourth question of this session. According to the Supreme Court, the word forest must be understood according to its dashed. Option A, biological meaning. Option B, ecological meaning. Option C, silvicultural meaning. Option D, dictionary meaning. Now coming to the Indian Court of Law, highest court, the Supreme Court. Supreme Court made a ruling verdict where it mentioned that the word forest must be understood according to its which meaning. Option A, which says biological, ecological, silvicultural, or the dictionary meaning. This piece of information has also been steadily covered in the lecture series. If you have been through the lecture series, you will be able to answer this very easy question. I don't think people will have difficulty. Let's take a quick 30-second to 1 minute of time to collect answers in the chat box. And then I will reveal what is the correct answer to this question. I already see lots of answers. Kinjal, Divakar, Tarsya, Mrunal, Suraj, Preeti, Prerna, Sanket, Sakshi, Pratiksha, Shresi, Mintu, Rohan, Atharv, Avishkar, Shashwat, Snehal, Rohan, lot of people. Priya, Prithviraj, Sanjeevni, Omkar. Okay, since there are a lot of people already answering, now let us look at what is the correct answer. Correct answer is option D, dictionary meaning. So the Supreme Court in 1996 ruled out that the word forest must be understood according to its dictionary meaning. So option D is the correct answer. Very good. All the students have answered very promptly. And I think people have also mentioned, Sashwat has mentioned Godavarman case. You are very correct, Sashwat. So let us find out what is the verdict that was given by the Supreme Court. The term forest must be understood in its dictionary meaning, and this was given by the then Chief Justice, or the bench committed by T.N. Godavarman. Now, what is the dictionary meaning of the forest say? A large area of land covered with trees is a forest. So this is by law now attributed by the Supreme Court, that whenever an area or a land is mentioned by the term forest, It must be understood by the dictionary meaning, which says any large area of land covered with trees can be forest. Now, this might be a very trivial thing for all of us as students, but we have to realize that when it is written in the constitution or becomes a part of the law, it cannot be changed, it cannot be broken or manipulated, right? That is why there are many changes in the policies, or ruling parties are trying to amend these laws or constitution to rewrite or to benefit them, so that if the definition of forests could be changed, then many areas would fall under would fall outside the definition of forest, which can then be exploited. So it is as important as that. It may be trivial for us, but in the light of law and order and in the act of constitution, such trivial things also make a big difference. Okay, it was an easy question and answer. I hope everyone is with me on this fourth question. Is everyone clear? Just let me know with a like or a yes, and then we are moving to the next question. So all these questions are pretty easy. You guys are answering well till now. We are almost 50%, half the way done till the questions. Okay. Now question number 5 coming up on our screen. Which of these is not a use value? Okay. Which of these is not a use value? Option A, direct value. Option B, indirect value. Option C, option value. Option D, existence value. Understood the question? For all those who are able to look at the screen and listen to me, which of these is not a use value? If you know the difference between a use value and a non-use value, you will be able to answer this. It's a direct value, it's an indirect value, option value, or an existence value. So this is in the use value of the forests. Let's take a quick 30 seconds to 1 minute. And students, please post your answers in the chat box. And we will revisit this question where I will reveal what is the correct answer. Okay, I see again a lot of answers. It's good to see that people are participating. Okay, I'm just following the comment section now. Many people have answered option D. Let us see, there is a question in the comment section. With the new Forest Act amendment, is the definition still valid? This is question from Shashwat. I think yes, the ruling party, which is the BJP, is trying to amend or has amended this act. The Forest Conservation Amendment Act, like in 2023, this has narrowed down the definition of forest. So it is not actually what we saw in the previous question. If you go back to the question, any large area of land covered with the trees can be termed as a forest or understood as a forest. Now it has been reduced to any area that is registered under the government as a forest to be a forest, which is actually, so this is actually replacing the original definition laid down by T.N. Godavanan at 1996, So in 2023, this act has been amended, which now includes only the ones that are registered under the government to be declared as the forest. So yes, it has narrowed down the scope of definition of forest, and it has created a huge change. Yes, we know that the Aravalli Hills or the forests are now at a danger of exploitation, right? So I hope that answers your question. Now coming back to the fifth question, which of these is not a use value? Of course, it is option D, which is the existence value. Everyone has done a great job. Option D is the correct answer. To all of those who have answered, well done. Now, what is a use value? What is a non-use value? What is a direct, indirect, and option value? And what are these definitions? What is the difference between them? Let us understand in brief with examples. Okay. Now, first we have to understand what something is known as total economic value. Now, what is total economic value? Total economic value of forest refers to the total of use and non-use values obtained from forest ecosystems. So here we are talking about forest ecosystems, but this definition actually applies to any system that you want to study. Total economic value, how does it benefit? So economics is totally created by man, and as a selfish a human can be, human has to estimate how beneficial is this ecosystem for us. So what is the direct use and non-use values that we obtain from these forest ecosystem? Now the total economic value can be divided into use value and non-use value, and the use value can be further divided into direct use, indirect use, and option value. The non-use value can be bequest value, existence value, and in some cases altruistic value that we will encounter ahead. Okay, so now let us first understand what is the use value. Use value is when you directly use the product of the ecosystem or the consumption of the ecosystem, very similar to what we first saw in the first question. Direct use, direct benefits from use of primary goods, for example industrial inputs such as timber, food, fodder, and other forest products, medicinal products, fresh water, cultural services like recreation, tourism, education, and science. These are also coming from these are also coming under the direct and indirect use. Now option uses, option value, option for future use, direct or indirect, of goods and services. So you don't use it now, but you have an option of preserving it for future generations to use it, or maybe later in this generation, not currently but later, it can lead to discovery of various medicines, various pharmaceuticals that yet remain to be discovered from plant species. May not be direct use right now, but there is always an option to preserve these. So this also provides some value to the direct use value. And indirect use value benefits from secondary goods and services like again freshwater, medicinal products, carbon storage, the flood control, recharging the water table. All these are the direct, or all these are the use value of the forest ecosystem. Now what is the non-use value? Bequest value or existence value. Bequest value is particularly saving the forests for the future generations, for preserving again the freshwater, carbon storage, air quality, cultural services, and religious significance. And existence value, value of existence without use or consumption, such as moral, aesthetic purposes, scenery and landscape, community identity and integrity, spiritual and moral obligations, for preserving wildlife and biodiversity. So these are different classification of values which add up to the total economic value of forests. Now within these, the existence value is not a use value. And how such? Because existence values are those benefits that are derived from the knowledge that non-timber amenities and resources will continue to exist regardless of the fact that the amenity or resource may never be used, seen, or visited. I hope you are understanding this statement. Just the knowledge that there will be resources available for the next generation or for us, even if they may not be directly used, seen, or visited. Enjoyment regardless of the use of the forest. The value people place on knowing that a forest or its species exist even if they never use or visit it. It is a non user value under the total economic value based on ethical, cultural, spiritual, or moral satisfaction. For example, people may value the existence, just the existence of tropical rainforest, like when we hear about Amazon rainforest are the lungs of the earth. Just the existence of these forests give us value. I personally have never visited Amazon rainforest. I bet I wish I could, or even you guys could, but just the fact that these forests exist have value or add value to humans, such as the endangered species of Royal Bengal tiger residing in the evergreen forests or tropical wetlands of the Sundarban deltas. Just the existence knowledge is enough to add value to it. Therefore, existence value is a non use value which is directly not used from the forest ecosystem, and you guys are correct. I hope it is easier to understand with an example. If yes, then let me know in the chat box with a yes or a like, and we can go ahead to the next question. Very good. Great. Great response from the students. Now, looking at the next question, question number 6. According to the Supreme Court, the term forest land includes dashed. Again, Supreme Court verdict. The fourth question was about what is a forest, and here the question is about what is a forest land according to the Supreme Court. Option A, some area recorded as forest in the government record according to ownership. Option B, any area recorded as forest in the government record according to ownership. Option C, some area recorded as forest in the government record irrespective of ownership. And option D, any area recorded as forest in the government record irrespective of ownership. These are the 4 options. Very confusing options. Just a tweak here and there with words can lead to a different meaning, right? So let me know what you think is the correct answer. According to the Supreme Court, which of these terms includes what is known as a forest land? Let's take some 30 seconds or 1 minute to collect some answers and come back to visit this. Okay, I see a lot of comments flowing. Sir, Suraj says, sir, someone just reported that she is having a problem joining the class. She says the class has been full. I think so, Suraj. I think Google Meet only allows 100 participants at once. I don't know if there are 100 participants right now, but I'm so sorry for that. Let me talk to the NPTEL authorities if they will allow any other platform for this class. Then I can share a new link, or otherwise you can assure your friend that all these conversations, all these questions and materials will be provided to her with a link that she can access. And this is a recorded lecture where whatever we are discussing right now will be available on YouTube. She can watch it later, but I'm so sorry that the link is already full. Okay, Suraj. Now coming back to the answers, option D. So many people have, lots of people have answered option D. Ritesh, Rajkumar, Siddhi, Manasvi, Utkarsha, Prerna, Sanjeevani, Manvendra, Rohan, Jewel, Pranav, Atharv, Purva, Avishkar, Vinay, Mintu, Ashwini. Lot of people. Okay. According to the Supreme Court, the term forest land includes, option D is the right answer. It includes any area recorded as forest in the government record irrespective of ownership. So this is what now the term forest land means. Any area, whether it is a private forest, whether it is a plantation, whether it is a reserve forest, if it is recorded under the government, irrespective of who owns it, that can be termed as a forest land. The Supreme Court India defines forest land broadly extending beyond official notified records to include any land meeting the dictionary meaning of a forest regardless of ownership, originating from the Godavarman case. But sadly, this is also going to be modified with the Amendments Act. So here is a list of all different kinds of forests that our country has. There are reserved forests, which are all forests notified under the Indian Forest Act 1927 or an equivalent state law under control and management of Forest Department and legally protected. These are all protected forests, reserved forests. What are protected forests? Notified forests, that those under the control of forest departments as declared by state government under Indian Forest Act. Then there are unclassed forests, which are non-notified, deemed forest, non-notified forests that may be under other ownership, which are non-government, recorded forests, areas that have been recorded, non-recorded forest, community forest, private forest. Now all of these can come under the forest land, which satisfy this criteria. Any area recorded as forest in the government record, irrespective of ownership, will be classified as forest land. I hope it is clear to the students. You guys have answered correctly. Very good. Very good. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Question number 7. Question number 7. Tropical moist forests do not include dashed. Tropical moist forest do not include dashed. Option A. Broad-leaved forests. Option B. Wet evergreen forests. Option C. Semi-evergreen forests. Option D. Moist deciduous forest. Which of these does not come under tropical moist forests? Now this is one of the topics again Professor Ankur had covered in classification of forest. Also, it's very logical to understand the name of the forest kind and to classify which of these kind of forest will be under this tropical moist. So the first thing, it has to be tropical, and the second thing is moist, which says that there is heavy rainfall. So which kind of forest do not come under the tropical moist forest? Wet evergreen, semi-evergreen, moist deciduous or broad-leaved. I kind of spelled this out for you, for all those people who were a bit confused. But seems like everyone already arrived at the correct answer. They are already answering so many answers already in the chat box. So many answers says option A. Okay, Shashwat has answered option D, and someone else, Sakshi, has answered, I cannot understand this letter, maybe W or something. Okay, might be there is a difference of opinion, but let us look at what is the correct answer to this question. Tropical moist forest do not include option A, broad-leaved forests. Very close by, but does not come under the classification. Tropical moist forest. So Google and AI would give you answers otherwise, but I will go according to the lectures, where wet evergreen forests a part of tropical moist forest, semi-evergreen forest part of that, moist deciduous forest also part of tropical moist forest. A tropical moist forest is a biome near the equator with warm temperatures and high rainfall, and rich biodiversity including rainforests and monsoon forests which are with distinct wet and dry seasons. So therefore, three categories are included in the tropical moist forest, which are wet evergreen all year round, which are rainforest, semi evergreen forests which do not shed their leaves, moist deciduous which are in the monsoon forests, wet season, and in the dry season they shed their leaves, the deciduous forest. Now, what is a broad-leaved forest? Broad-leaved forests in India, ranging from tropical to temperate, are primarily located in the Himalayan foothills at an altitude of 500 to 2600 meters, northeast India and the western eastern Ghats, dominated by species like sal, oak, and rhododendrons. These, which include evergreen and deciduous types, are vital for biodiversity, watershed protection, and timber. So they do include evergreen and deciduous trees, but they do not come under moist tropical forests because they can also occur in the temperate areas, in the foothills of the Himalayas, in the foothills of the Western Ghats, when you come down from the mountains. And above the mountains, which are receiving heavy rainfall and are always moist, are the categories under the tropical moist forest. Although there are trees which are evergreen and deciduous both in the broadleaf forest, they also appear in the temperate areas where there is lesser temperature and lesser rainfall in the Himalayan foothills. And species like sal and rhododendrons are found in this broadleaf forest. So very close by, the definition is not very stark, but yes, for the according to the lecture definition and according to the tight definition, tropical moist forests include wet evergreen, semi evergreen, and moist deciduous forest. Is it clear to the students? Very good, very good. Good. It feels good as a teacher to see participation from all the students. It encourages me to prepare the slides and discuss these answers with you guys. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Question number 8. We are moving on fast. Lot of time left. We can really answering. We are really answering well. Question number 8 says the value of leaving use and non-use value for offspring or future generations is called dashed. What kind of value is this where you leave use and non-use value for offsprings or future generations? Option A, altruistic value. Option B, bequest value. Option C, existence value. Or option D, option value. Sounds funny when option D is the option value. But which of these value means leaving the use and non-use value for offsprings or the future generation? Let us take a quick 30 seconds to 1 minute to collect answers in the chat box. Okay, so this question kind of confusing people in the chat box. There are two groups of opinion. There are people who have answered option B, going with bequest value, and option D, which is going with option value. Okay. With this question, then I will be able to clear your doubts for once and for all, that which is the correct answer. I guess there are most of the answers have come in the chat box. Shall we go ahead with which is the correct answer? The value of leaving use and non-use values for offsprings or future generation is called bequest value. Option B is the correct answer. It's not option value but bequest value. A simple but major difference lies between bequest and option value. Let us first understand what is bequest value, then I think it will be clear. I also see some people have answered existence value. I'm sorry, I think Manvendra. Sorry, Manvendra, it's not option C. Existence value is in this generation as well. When we just encountered the example, like Amazon rainforests exist right now, and even if I have never been to the Amazon rainforest, I am just happy or acknowledging its existence. It is providing a value to the humanity. That is existence value, which is a value derived in the current generation as well. So same goes for option value. But bequest value is a value which is for the future generations and future generations only. Let us understand the total economic value. We have use values which have direct use value, indirect use values. Revising the same, option value which is not in the current times, but there is always an option that we may find value in the forest ecosystem later in this generation itself. Then comes non-use values which have existence value, that the forests and ecosystem exist and we are happy about it. It derives some value for it, altruistic value and bequest value. Now, biggest value of forest is defined as value of people place on conserving forests so that the future generation can benefit from them. So we bequest or we quest the forest for the next generation. It is a non-use value under the total economic value, reflects intergenerational equity. We want different generations to experience this use or value of this forest. That is why it is called the bequest value, based on concern for future availability of forest resources and ecosystem services. For example, protecting forest today so that future generation can enjoy biodiversity, climate regulation and cultural benefits. I hope you understood the difference. And what is option value? An option value example would be finding out a new medicinal plant or an undiscovered medicinal plant which has not been discovered yet, so it does not have any direct use. But then there is always an option, we might encounter a plant in this generation only, optionally, which can give us some benefit, which can give us some value. Or genetic diversity. We find a super crop or a super plant which produces 10 fruits a year rather than one fruit a year, which is not currently discovered, but there is always an option that we might find such things in the forest ecosystem. That is option value. Now, what is bequest value? We preserve the ecosystem for our future generations. Sole purpose of that is bequest value. So these are two different values. One which is currently experienced in this generation, there is a chance of experiencing in this generation is option value, which we are currently experiencing is the existence value, and which we are preserving for the next generation is the bequest value. I hope it is clear to the students. If you are facing any confusion, this is the time you tell me for explaining it again, because I am going to move to the next question. Is it clear to the students? Let me know with a thumbs up or a yes. Three different terms: option value, existence and bequest. Option value in this generation may or may not be, there is always an option to find better things in the forest ecosystem. Existence value, we are currently experiencing it just by the existence of the forest ecosystem, and bequest value for preserving it for the next ecosystem, next generation. Okay, I think there is a comment in the chat box. Tarsia is asking, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, give another easy example for option value. Okay, another easy example, let me think of. So one is the undiscovered medicinal plant, which I just explained. Let us look at it in the other point of view: future ecotourism or genetic resources. Right? What is future ecotourism? So there are unexplored areas, for example, the Glacier National Park or the tundra regions in the north of Canada. Most of the north of Canada and the US, North America, or the north of Greenland is actually existing here because of the option value of it. There can be lot of scope of future ecotourism which we are not currently using, but there is always an option we will find undiscovered ecotourism there. So it can boost future ecotourism, undiscovered medicines, or genetic resources. Like there are new species of plant yet to be discovered, which can add on to value to the human community. Right? That is an option value. And bequest value, preserving everything for the next generation. Existence value, I hope you understood. So undiscovered medicines for pharmaceutical discovery, maintaining old growth forests for future recreational value, or water security. Water security, right? Because again, glaciers are an example. Preserving glaciers, just because there will be water availability to us in the future, in this generation itself, but right now we are not using those glaciers. So there is always an option that we will derive some benefit in the future in this generation itself. So that is an example of option value. And undiscovered medicinal plants that you never know. There are many species of plants and bacteria and animals that can be of use which are yet undiscovered. I hope this clarifies your doubt. If yes, then let us move ahead. Good. Tharsia gives a thumbs up. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrongly. Moving on to the ninth question. The term forest originates from dashed. I think the easiest question. The term forest originates from dashed. Option A, Latin foris, meaning outside. Option B, Greek foris, meaning outside. Option C, Latin foris, meaning trees. Or option C, Greek foris, meaning trees. Just a permutation and combination of whether it's a Latin word or a Greek word, whether it means trees or does it mean outside. Okay, let's just move to the chat box because I think many people have already answered. I can see it in the chat box. You guys are answering very fast because every class or a session I give at least 30 seconds to 1 minute for everyone to answer, because we have to pull shy people in the back, or people who are reluctant to participate. We have to aim for a full participation, but it's not the case with this class. Everyone is answering very well, makes me happy. Okay, so lot of answers. The term forest originates from option A, Latin word foris, meaning outside. Option A is the correct answer. Well done, everyone. So again, the word forest is derived from the Latin word foris, which mean outside the village boundary or away from the inhabited land. It is a large tract covered with trees and undergrowth, sometimes mixed with pasture. So do you know the origin of this word? Forest, outside the village boundary or away from inhabited land. So what happened in medieval times? Kings used to go to forest to hunt, which was outside their village or their castle walls or the village boundary. Then any area which is away from the inhabited land, which housed wild animals, the king used to hunt for the wild animals. So that is where the word came up, for forests, which meaning outside the land or outside the village boundary, any inhabited land is forest. So it started off as any inhabited land which kings used to go for hunting. So now the forest has become there are lots of definition. We just saw the ecological definition, the legal definition, FAO definition, silvicultural definition. It is a large tract covered with trees and undergrowth, sometimes mixed with pasture. Generally, forest is referred to an area occupied by different kinds of trees like shrubs, herbs, grasses, and maintained as such. Very easy and straightforward to understand. This course is all about forests and everything we can understand for their proper management for benefit to us humans. We are very selfish. Okay, last question of this session. The value derived from the knowledge of use of resources by others in the current generation is called dashed. Again, a little confusing one. Value derived from the knowledge of use of resources by others in the current generation is called dashed. Option A, altruistic value. Option B, bequest value. Option C, existence value. Option D, option value. Can be a little tricky, but if you have spent a lot of time on the question number 8 where we understood bequest, existence and option value, you will be able to answer this question. Use of resources by others in the current generation, and there is some value related to it. Which kind of value is that? Let's take a 30-second or a 1-minute time to gather all the answers in the comment box. Okay, I think it's time to come back to the question and reveal what is the correct answer. The value derived from knowledge of use of resources by others in the current generation is called option A, altruistic value. Correct answer by everyone. Well done. Final question, and everyone has answered correctly except for 1 or 2 questions in the middle. All of you have been consistently doing well in answering these questions. Maybe it's the introduction class that we have easy questions here. This is known as altruistic value, where the knowledge of use of resources by others in the current generation derives a value. Altruistic value, value derived from conserving forests so that other people in the present generation can benefit from them, even if one does not use them personally. Very important to understand. Why are we conserving forest? There are many such instances, or many. Even if we do not use those forests personally, we should conserve these forests so that other people in the present generation can benefit from them. It is a non-use value under total economic value and focuses on concern for others like intragenerational equity. In the same generation, it focuses on the concern for others motivated by social, ethical or moral considerations. For example, supporting forest conservation so that local communities can access clean water, fuel, wood and livelihoods even if you don't. Even if you do not use those personally, you can always support forest conservation programs which provides an altruistic value for the forest ecosystems. So here again, forest, we have habitat restoration, biodiversity conservation, sustainable livelihood, wildlife conservation, conservation consciousness and water conservation. All this can be done, and even if you do not participate or directly use them personally, This can provide an altruistic value for all those people who are indigenous and who are closely associated with those forests. Helping them in conservation is an altruistic value that forest ecosystem provide. I hope it is clear to the students. Okay, very good. So with this, we have come to the end of our problem solving session. I will close this presentation and come back to our... I will stop presenting right now and turn on my camera. So this was our first session for week 1, where we encountered the example questions from all the 3 lectures that Professor Ankur has recorded for lecture week 1, where we solved questions from the definition of forests, different classification of forests, and the different kind of values that forest ecosystem provide. I hope you guys were able to follow throughout the class, and I was very happy with the participation that you guys showed. Keep up the good work, and see you next week Saturday at 3 p.m. where we will try to understand the concepts of lecture week 2. So be well prepared, read your lectures, go through your recorded lectures, and this live session as well is recorded. Once the class ends, I will post this recording in the YouTube channel, the link of which will be provided to you by the NPTEL authorities. I'm sorry. And the slide material that I shared with you guys with all the example questions will also be provided. Now coming on to someone's question in the chat box, if I scroll down, someone was asking help on how to solve, where to find the solve assignments, I think. Suraj. No, not Suraj. I think it was an earlier comment. Let me just... Manvendra, yes. After you are done with lecture, please explain how to find and do assignment, as it is my first class. Okay. So what I will do right now, please bear with me for 5 more minutes. I will log in onto the NPTEL course, the course window, and show you where to click to find your assignment. Okay. But this is an old assignment, so you this will not be the same as the questions you will be getting in your current assignment. Okay, let me share my screen once again and share my screen. Okay. Then I'll just log in into my NPTEL forests and their management. Right. If I just go to, yeah. So this is the interface you see once you log in into your NPTEL. So I have logged in with my reviewer ID, which is, I have the access to the questions and the answers as well, since I am a teaching assistant. So if you are first time user to an NPTEL, you can find the lectures here. Week 0, I hope you can see the pointer. I am zooming it for you. There is week 0, week 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Right? So right now we are at week 1. Like this. Then there are lectures, what is a forest, classification of forest, value of forest, and here you will find quiz week 1 assignment 1. You have to click here. Once you click here on quiz week 1 assignment 1, it will take you to the quiz where there are these 4 options. Since this is an old assignment, so there are already answers that have been here, and you have marks or points for these. You can select your options like this, which I cannot do here because this is an old course, but you can select yours and then press submit. There will be a submit button here. If you register as a student, you press submit here. That is how you answer your questions here. Okay. So go through your lectures here in week 1, week 0. Read your week 0, week 1 introduction classes. For the next session, please read through the week 2 assignments. I hope it is clear to Manvendra. Kinjal also has a question. I want to ask that if I submit my assignment now but register later, okay, will my marks automatically transfer to my record? Okay, Kinjal, for this I am not sure, because I am not I'm not sure actually. I cannot help this. You have to ask this question to the NPTEL authorities. I can help you with the course content. I can guide you how to click your answers in the exams, just I showed. But I don't know about the registration process and what will happen if you register for the course and later and you answer your assignments right now. Please ask the NPTEL via email. They will help you better. Okay, for the exam. Sorry, Kinjal, I do not want to misguide you, so that is why I'm referring you to the NPTEL authorities. Okay, so I think with that we have come to the end of the session. I hope you guys liked this session, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to post it in the chat box. Due to a big class here, I am not allowing anyone to speak, otherwise it will be chaotic. I would love to hear your answers and your questions, but it is all fine if you post it in the chat box and we get it cleared. At the end, our aim is to go back home while learning something new. Okay, so let me end this call, and thank you for joining. See you next Saturday at 3 p.m. with lecture week 2. We'll be solving similar 10 to 15 questions. Bye bye and have a good evening.